Let me ask you a question. What if everything could change for you overnight? What if there was just one habit, one shift that could take you from where you are to where you want to be, faster than you ever thought possible? Because the truth is there is. And it's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's about a decision, a real decision. Most people think they're making decisions, but they're really just making preferences. I'd like to be healthier. I want to make more money. I should be happier. That's not a decision. That's a wish. Let's get real. Your life isn't shaped by the conditions around you. It's shaped by the choices you make, the decisions you commit to. One decision, made with absolute certainty, can change everything overnight. But most people don't decide. They hesitate, they analyze, they wait for the right moment, the perfect conditions. And in that hesitation, in that delay, they lose momentum. Think about this. How many times have you told yourself you were going to do something? I should start working out. I need to save more money. I really should spend more time with my family. And then what happens? Nothing. Days pass, weeks slip by, and suddenly another year is gone and you're in the same place. Why? Because should is weak. Should is not a decision. A decision is when you cut off every other possibility and say, this is happening no matter what. That's real power. That's what changes your life. Look at the moments in your life that shaped who you are today. I guarantee they came from decisions, not circumstances, not luck, not waiting for the perfect time. The moment you decided to take a job, to leave a relationship, to move to a new city, to start a business, those were the turning points. The problem is, most people don't make real decisions. They keep their options open. They tell themselves, I'll try, instead of saying, I must. But when you truly decide, you tap into something inside you, something powerful, something unstoppable. Because when you make a real decision, you don't need to push yourself anymore. The decision pulls you. It creates momentum. It changes your identity. If you decide you're a runner, you don't try to run, you run. If you decide you're a leader, you don't hope to be one. You step up and lead. The strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm someone who struggles, you'll keep struggling. But if you decide right now, I am someone who figures things out, your entire approach to life changes. Here's the truth. Your brain is always looking for direction. If you don't decide where you're going, the world will decide for you. And guess what? The world doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your potential. If you don't claim your power, someone else will. The people who succeed at the highest levels, the ones who break through, who make the impossible happen, these people don't have fewer problems than you. They don't have more time or better luck. They have something different, absolute clarity. They know what they want, and they decide that nothing will stop them. And once you make that kind of decision, your brain starts working for you instead of against you. Suddenly, you see opportunities that were always there, but you were too blind to notice. You take actions you were too afraid to take before. You stop hesitating. You stop second guessing. You move and you move fast. But here's the catch. Most people wait until they feel ready. They think they need more information, more certainty, more preparation. Let me tell you something. Certainty doesn't come before the decision. Certainty comes because of the decision. You don't wait to feel confident to start a business. You start the business, and confidence comes from taking action. You don't wait until you're fearless to go after your dreams. You take action while you're scared, and the fear disappears in the process. The moment you make a real decision, fear loses its grip on you. Doubt fades. You don't negotiate with yourself anymore. You don't ask, should I? You just do it. You move. You act. You commit. So what's the one habit that will change your life overnight? It's not some magic routine. It's not another strategy. It's the habit of making real decisions. Decisions that demand more from you. Decisions that leave no room for excuses. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to make one decision that will shift everything. One choice that will change your trajectory. What's it going to be? Because your life is waiting for you to decide. The quality of your relationships, the level of your health, the amount of success you've achieved, it's all based on what you've decided is acceptable for you. If you want to create a massive shift, you have to raise your standards. Not someday, not next week. Now, because here's the truth. People don't get what they want in life. They get what they must have. We all have things we say we want. I want to be fit. I want to be financially free. I want an incredible relationship. But wanting something isn't enough. Everyone wants something. The question is, what are you willing to demand of yourself? What are you no longer willing to tolerate? Think about it. If you look at people who have transformed their bodies, built empires, created legendary relationships, there's a pattern. At some point, they drew a line in the sand and said, this is no longer acceptable. This is the new standard. They didn't just wish for it. They changed what they demanded of themselves. And when you raise your standards, everything changes. The way you think changes. The way you show up changes. You stop making excuses. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop settling. You start taking the kind of action that, but let me be clear, raising your standards isn't about hoping for change. It's about backing it up with relentless action, because knowledge isn't power. Execution is power. You can read all the books, take all the courses, listen to all the podcasts, but if you don't take massive action, nothing happens. Action is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. It's the only thing that moves the needle. And I'm not talking about dipping your toe in. I'm talking about full immersion, burn the boats, remove the backup plans, go all in. Because when you give yourself a way out, you will always take it. How many times have you seen someone set a goal, start with excitement, and then fade out? They go to the gym for a few weeks, then stop. They start a business, but quit when it gets hard. They say they want a great relationship, but don't put in the work. Why? Because they haven't truly decided. They haven't raised their standards. And they haven't taken the level of action required to make it real. You have to condition yourself daily. You don't brush your teeth once and expect them to stay clean forever. You don't eat one healthy meal and expect to be in peak shape. It's the same with your mindset, your emotions, your standards. You have to train yourself every single day to focus on what you want instead of what you fear. Because if you don't control your mind, the world will control it for you. And let me tell you, if you let the world program you, you're going to end up stressed, broke, and settling for a life that's far less than what you're capable of. So the question is, what do you need to decide today? What do you need to raise your standards on? Where do you need to stop tolerating less than you deserve? And most importantly, what action are you going to take right now? Because change doesn't happen someday. It happens the moment you decide, the moment you demand more from yourself, the moment you act. And that moment is right now. Your life changes the moment you make a real decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not a preference, a real decision. Because a true decision means there's no other option. It means you've burned the boats, cut off any possibility of turning back, and committed fully. Most people don't do this. They say they want more, but they leave themselves an escape route. They allow excuses. They let doubt creep in, and that's why nothing changes. But the second you decide, truly decide, everything shifts. Your energy changes. Your focus sharpens. Your mind stops entertaining distractions and starts searching for ways to make it happen. Because your brain is a problem-solving machine. It will figure out how to get what you're committed to, but only if you've made it non-negotiable. Now, here's the real question. What do you demand from yourself? Because your life is a direct reflection of your standards. If you're stuck in a pattern you don't like, it's because on some level, you've accepted it as normal. If you're not where you want to be financially, physically, emotionally, it's because you've allowed yourself to operate at a level below what you're truly capable of. That's not an attack. It's an opportunity. Because the second you raise your standards, the second you decide this is no longer acceptable, you'll find a way to change. Look at anyone who has created extraordinary results in any area of life. They weren't just lucky. They weren't born with something special. At some point, they made a decision that their old way of living was no longer an option. They demanded more from themselves, and then they backed it up with action. Not half-hearted effort, not dipping their toe in, but full commitment. That's the difference between people who make things happen and people who stay stuck. Because taking action isn't just about doing something once or twice. It's about building momentum. It's about doing something so consistently with so much intensity that it becomes impossible for you to go back to the way things were. And here's the truth. Action creates confidence. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. They think they need to be more certain, more skilled, more prepared, but confidence doesn't come first. Action does. The more you move forward, the more certainty you build. The more you push through challenges, the more unstoppable you become. And when you're relentless, when you keep pushing no matter what, that's when breakthroughs happen. But let's be clear, this isn't a one-time shift. You have to condition yourself every single day. If you're not feeding your mind, if you're not actively choosing what you focus on, then the world will do it for you. And the world is filled with distractions, fear, and mediocrity. You have to take control of your mind or something else will. That means setting rituals that reinforce your new standard. It means flooding your brain with the right thoughts, surrounding yourself with people who elevate you, and constantly focusing on the future you're creating, not the limitations of your past. If you don't do this daily, old patterns will creep back in. So ask yourself, what decision do you need to make right now? What's one area of your life where you've been settling, where you've been accepting less than you deserve? And what's the action you can take today to start shifting it? Because change isn't about waiting. It's about deciding. It's about committing. It's about stepping up and taking massive, relentless action. And when you do that, when you stop making excuses, when you stop negotiating with yourself, when you raise your standards and back it up with action, your entire life transforms. And it happens faster than you ever thought possible. Your life can change in an instant, not in a month, not in a year, in a moment. The moment you make a real decision, not a wish, not a hope, but a decision so powerful that there is no turning back. Because when you truly decide, you don't give yourself an escape route. You don't entertain excuses. You don't allow doubt to creep in. You commit, and commitment changes everything. Most people never make that kind of decision. They tell themselves they want to change, but they leave room for failure. They say, I want to get in shape, but they don't demand it of themselves. They say, I want to be financially free, but they never burn the boats. That's why they stay stuck, because they treat their dreams as preferences instead of musts. And here's the truth. Your life is a reflection of your standards. If you're not happy with your body, your finances, your relationships, it's because on some level, you've been willing to accept them as they are. You get what you tolerate. The second you say, this is no longer acceptable, your brain shifts. You stop making excuses. You stop negotiating with yourself. You start finding solutions. Because the people who change their lives don't have fewer problems. They don't have more time, more resources, or some magical advantage. What they have is a different standard. They demand more of themselves, and that demand forces them to take massive action. But let's be real, action alone isn't enough. It's about relentless action. Because knowledge isn't power. Execution is power. You can read every book, take every course, watch every video, but if you don't act, nothing changes. And the people who win, who truly break through, aren't the ones who take action once or twice. They're the ones who condition themselves to act every single day, no matter what. This is where most people fail. They take action for a few days, a few weeks, maybe even a few months, and then they hit a roadblock. Things get tough and they slow down. They start to doubt themselves. They look for an easier path, and before they know it, they're right back where they started. But the ones who succeed, they don't stop. They push harder when it gets tough. They build momentum. And momentum is everything. Because when you move forward with intensity, with certainty, with an unstoppable drive, you become unshakable. Now here's the key. This isn't a one-time thing. You have to condition yourself every single day. If you're not training your mind, if you're not feeding your brain the right thoughts, the world will do it for you. And if you let the world program you, you'll live in fear, in doubt, in mediocrity. You have to take control. That means setting rituals that reinforce your new standard. It means surrounding yourself with people who elevate you. It means flooding your mind with empowering thoughts and focusing on the future you're creating, not the limitations of your past. Because if you don't control your mind, your old patterns will creep back in. Fear will take over. Procrastination will return. You'll start negotiating with yourself again. And suddenly you'll find yourself right back where you started. Your life changes the moment you decide it will. Not when the timing is perfect, not when you feel ready, not when you've gathered enough information, the moment you commit fully. Because real transformation doesn't come from wishful thinking or half-hearted effort. It comes from a decision so powerful that it leaves no room for excuses, no space for hesitation. And that kind of decision, that's what separates those who achieve massive success from those who spend their lives wondering what could have been. Most people don't make that kind of decision. They tell themselves they want change, but deep down, they leave themselves an out. They say they should get healthier, should build financial freedom, should create a better life. But should doesn't create results. Must does. When something becomes a must, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop waiting for motivation. You take action no matter what, and action is everything. Because knowledge alone doesn't change lives. Execution does. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't act on it, nothing happens. And the people who succeed, they don't just take action once. They build momentum. They move forward every single day, even when it's hard, even when they don't feel like it, even when it seems like nothing is working. They push through the resistance. And that persistence is what creates breakthroughs. But most people never get there because they stop too soon. They hit an obstacle, and instead of pushing harder, they slow down. They let fear, doubt, and excuses take over. They convince themselves it's not the right time, that they don't have enough experience, that they're not good enough. And that's how dreams die, not because they're impossible, but because people quit before they see results. The truth is, the only thing stopping you from creating the life you want is the story you've been telling yourself about why you can't. Change your story, and you change your life. Stop saying you're not ready. Stop saying you don't have what it takes. Stop saying you'll do it someday. Someday is the language of people who never make it happen. Now is the language of people who do. If you want to make that shift, you need to raise your standards, because your life is a direct reflection of what you've been willing to accept. If you're not happy with your body, your finances, your relationships, it's because on some level, you've been okay with it. You've tolerated less than you deserve. And the second you decide this is no longer acceptable, your actions will follow. Because the people who break through, they demand more from themselves. They don't wait for external circumstances to change. They change themselves. They create rituals, routines, and habits that align with the life they want. They surround themselves with people who push them to be better. They train their minds to focus on solutions instead of problems, on opportunities instead of limitations. They make growth a daily practice, not just something they think about once in a while. That's the key. You have to condition yourself every single day. If you're not actively programming your mind, the world will do it for you. And if you let the world dictate your thoughts, you'll be filled with fear, doubt, and mediocrity. You'll be reactive instead of proactive. You'll drift instead of deciding where you want to go. So take control. Set rituals that reinforce your vision. Flood your mind with the right thoughts. Surround yourself with people who push you to grow. And most importantly, take massive, relentless action. Because the results you want, they're already within your reach. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the decision to go all in. That decision, it happens in an instant. Not next week, not next year. Now, the second you decide to stop accepting less, the second you refuse to settle, the second you commit to taking action, no matter what, no excuses, no turning back, that's when everything changes. That's when you become unstoppable. So ask yourself, what do you need to decide today? What area of your life have you been neglecting? Where have you been settling for less than you deserve? And most importantly, what action are you going to take right now to change it? Because transformation doesn't happen over time. It happens in the moment you decide to step up. And that moment, it's right now. No more waiting, no more excuses, no more hesitation, just a decision, a commitment, and the relentless action that follows. Because when you stop waiting and start moving, you don't just change your life. You create a life beyond anything you ever thought possible. And it happens faster than you ever imagined. So ask yourself, what decision do you need to make right now? Where in your life have you been settling? Where have you been tolerating less than you deserve? And most importantly, what action are you going to take today to change it? Because transformation doesn't happen someday. It happens the moment you decide, the moment you demand more, the moment you stop waiting, stop wishing, and start moving. And when you do that, when you commit fully, take relentless action, and condition yourself every day, you don't just change your life. You create a life beyond anything you ever imagined. And it happens faster than you ever thought possible. The truth is, your life is happening right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. And the difference between where you are and where you want to be isn't time. It's decision, it's action, it's commitment. The people who create extraordinary lives aren't the ones who wait. They're the ones who decide. They're the ones who raise their standards. They're the ones who stop making excuses and start making progress. You already have everything you need to change your life. The only thing missing is your decision to do it. And once you make that decision, once you fully commit, without hesitation, without backup plans, without looking back, you will become unstoppable. Because the truth is, the only limits in your life are the ones you've been willing to accept. And right now, in this moment, you have the power to break through every single one of them. You have the power to shift your mindset, to take massive action, to build unstoppable momentum. But no one can do it for you. It's on you to step up. It's on you to demand more. So stop waiting, stop hoping, stop hesitating, decide, move, take action now, and watch how fast your life transforms. Thank you.